Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the study. Going to be talking about supply and demand price levels. Why is this important and how does it work necessarily? How I like to visualize it on the stock chart. Before we proceed any further, I would like to state that the information in this video is not a recommendation to buy or sell any securities and is for educational purposes only. So, if you look at my screen here, I have a stock chart pulled up of AbbVie on the daily. So each of these candles are going to represent a day's worth of trading. We have a year all plotted here. And what we need to talk about before we proceed any further is supply and demand. How does this work exactly? Well, supply is the number of shares available for purchase at a certain price. This is going to sound a lot like basic economics that you may have took from high school or graduate class. And demand, on the other hand, is going to be the number of orders for shares at a certain price. So if you are familiar with technical analysis, which looks at chart data, historical trends, and you know your uptrend and your downtrend when you're looking at charts, and you can see a clear uptrend right here, a perfect example here where the stock has broken out in the last couple months, you would know that a strong uptrend results in strong demand. Support is the price level where a stock does not fall below in a period of time. So, a good example of seeing how support plays out is you can see here where the stock has these wicks sticking out, right? These lines that are sticking out of the candles of its body, and you are seeing that it dips below, but all of a sudden it goes back up into this trading range where we have a support level here, and up top we have a resistance level. Once resistance is broken, guess what? It becomes support. You may have heard that phrase before, very common. And so your next question is probably going to be, well, what exactly is resistance, right? Well, resistance is actually the price level where a stock does not gain above in a period of time. So think of it this way. If we have, you know how I was just talking about the strong uptrend where we have strong demand. Think of a strong downtrend where we have excessive supply. So another way to visualize this is when supply exceeds demand, selling takes place. See this big red candle down here? Therefore, the stock price goes lower. So the idea here is that it's trying to peak, right? The stock price, but it cannot get past that level. And what happens is that we use history going back in time, and we are seeing previous selling at this price level. Therefore, you have resistance. The trick I like to use to map out these levels is if I see 3 wicks poking a similar price range, that's automatically going to qualify as some sort of support level where there's strong demand, or a resistance level where there's a strong excess supply. And you can see that here with this first line here. This is a great example. Notice how we have this wicks here and then some wicks over here where the stock price comes back up and back into this range. Then it breaks out and it starts trading into a new range over here for the next couple of months. And then boom, you have it. A new level of supply and demand is established. But what happens here is that when we fast forward, there's immense selling taking place. Obviously, news can come into play as well. There was a news event that happened here with AbbVie, but I'm not going to talk specifically about that because we are focusing on just charts and technicals. It's supply and demand. And guess what? You see this long wick? Let me zoom in here so you guys can see the clear picture. This price moved all the way from 120s all the way down to a low of 106 with 10 cents. And you notice once it hit that 106 with 10 cents, look at the time moving forward. It would never seem to break below that price level. Why is that? Let's zoom out again. When we zoom out, this was previously established. This was a critical level. How do you know that these levels are critical? Well, here's another tool that you can do. To further empower your hypothesis, you would look at the volume. Whenever there's high volume, that is going to help generate a movement in the stock price. High volume here. What do you notice? It broke through that level of demand. Saw that? And it went down. So short sellers or people who were bearish here probably made some good money on the stock. We're going up now, and we're going back into that trading range, which is successful. And then you look at the volume here, how it's kind of muted, right? About average, and then boom, you have another pop here. Let's see what happens on this pop. We are around a critical level again of supply and demand. So, and then we go all the way up here where we have this big pop. Huge volume again, which caused the price to move in a dramatic direction. Same thing here. Huge pop. And guess what? We broke through a level, two critical levels here of supply and demand. These support levels are very important to consider whenever you are trying to establish a position into a company, especially if you're looking for a long-term position. You want to make sure you're buying around these levels. If you're not utilizing this strategy, don't have time for this, hey, DCA, dollar cost averaging, works just as well. And what's really interesting in this example is when we see that demand, right? That's support level. I keep saying supply and demand, but it goes hand in hand with support and resistance. And you see these resistance levels become support. And now we have a new resistance level up here where you can see these wicks sticking out about 1, 2, 3, 4 multiple times, and it cannot get past that level. The stock price is stuck. Once it breaks through this level, which historically, look a couple months back, same thing. Look back here, same thing. Once it broke through this level, you could see from the failed attempts so many times and the big sell-off that happened here, the stock went into a straight uptrend and it's off to the races. So, guys, I wanted to put together a quick support and resistance, supply and demand video showing these mechanics, how they work, how I like to visualize it on the Thinkorswim trading platform provided by TD Ameritrade. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I might put together another video. I got a lot of questions about technicals and how to interpret it, and I hope this presentation helped put the overall picture together. If you get a chance, please make sure to like that video and hit the thumbs up, and that will help me out a ton. I really appreciate it. On that note, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be glad to help you out, and I will see you in the next one.